Welcome to episode 131 of Angela Watson's Truth for Teachers. I'm your host, Angela Watson, and I'm here to speak life, encouragement, and truth into the minds and hearts of educators and get you energized for the week ahead. Today, we're going to talk about why most of us don't value our time as much as we value our money, and how life could be different if we thought about time in terms of investing rather than spending it. Visit truthforteachers.com to get the transcript and to share your thoughts in the comments. This episode is brought to you by the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club. It's an online course that I created to offer professional development on productivity for teachers. The club is designed to be the solution to teacher overwhelm. It walks you step by step through each aspect of your teaching throughout the school year. That way you can streamline and simplify. There's printable forms and templates to help you implement the solutions, which are audio-based productivity strategies, so you can listen to them instead of having to read. I'd love for you to join our positive community of teachers who love their work and love sharing resources around their work. The next cohort is about to begin. It's coming up this summer. So visit 40htw.com to learn more, and I'll send you free time-saving resources now. 40htw.com. So I'm in the middle of working on my 5th book right now. Or really, I should say, I'm not really in the middle of it yet, but I'm on the first draft of this book. And it's going to be called Fewer Things Better. The book is about how to figure out what things to take off your plate so that you can focus on what makes the biggest impact, both in your personal life and in the classroom. I feel like teachers always have more and more things added to their plate, and no one ever talks about how to figure out what you can let go of. So I'm hoping to release the book in print, ebook, and audiobook form around late 2018. So I've really been pouring a lot of my focused time and my energy into writing that. And I thought it only made sense that for this week's podcast episode, I would just give you a little sneak peek into one part of the book that I've been working on. To be honest, I'm a little unsure about this part. It might be a little too out there. It might be a little too woo-woo. I don't know. So I'm just going to share some of it here with you, and you can go to truthforteachers.com and let me know what you think. Does it work for you? Is it helpful? And then I can tweak some of it according to your feedback. I'm also hoping to release a few more sneak peeks of the book over the summer when the podcast is in between seasons. We're about to take a break for summer soon. Next week is the last episode for this season. So keep an eye out in your podcast app during the months of June and July, because there may be a surprise bonus episode or two from the book. So let's go ahead and get into this topic. And I'm going to ease into this by way of a story that I think you will be able to relate to. So many of you know, if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, that I was an elementary teacher for 11 years before becoming an instructional coach. And like most teachers, I had a substantial amount of materials that I would drag to and from school on a regular basis. Treats for a class party, organizers that I found at Target, materials for science experiments, and of course, tons of papers to grade. So naturally, I purchased that quintessential teacher item, the collapsible rolling cart, often known as the cart of shame because of the feelings that it induces when you roll that same cart back into school the next day, completely untouched, with all of your papers still ungraded. Well, my cart of shame collapsed after a few years of heavy use, and I needed a replacement really badly. So I ran a quick search on Amazon, and sure enough, they had the cart in stock. However, it was $34.99, and that felt a bit steep to me. Surely, I thought, I could find it cheaper. So I spent some time combing through the listings on eBay, and I found an auction that was beginning at 99 cents. So I placed my bid, and now all I had to do was wait a week for the auction to end. Although, of course, I would spend that week checking it obsessively to see if I had been outbid. And in the end, I had lost the auction. So I decided to turn to an online group of teachers who sold used materials. And I searched through all the different listings there, but I didn't see any rolling carts that were currently for sale. And when I asked, a couple of people made some suggestions, but nothing ever panned out. I continued to comparison shop online, and eventually I discovered a teacher store about a half an hour away, which had the cart on sale. Finally, here was my perfect rolling cart, and it was only $29.99. So at last, I could check this item off my to-do list, feeling 100% confident that I had achieved my goal of purchasing the cart for the lowest possible price. As I got into my car to drive over to the teacher's store, I paused. A thought suddenly struck me. I had tackled this task repeatedly over a 2-week time period. I'd spent probably around 2 hours hunting for this cart. And now I was about to drive 30 minutes out of my way and 30 minutes back home in order to save myself a whopping $5. I was incredibly intentional about that $5, but I never even thought to count the cost of my time. And so I had traded 3 hours of my time, a finite resource, which can never be recovered, to preserve the tiniest bit of money, which is infinite, because more can always be earned or received. Now, maybe you're thinking, wait a second, hold up, Angela, money's infinite, really? You remember the pay scale for teachers, right? There is definitely a limit to what I can earn. But see, don't miss this. That salary scale is evidence that you will continue to earn money each year. Regardless of what happens in life, it's a pretty solid bet that more money is going to come to you in the future. Your time, on the other hand, is not promised, and it's running out. You have less and less of it as you get older, less and less of it every day, and you can't ever get more of your time. Now, I'm guessing you're very much like me in that story that I shared about the cart of shame, and you too watch your money very closely. Even if you're not strict about budgeting, you still most likely know the price of everything that you buy. You count the cost before making financial commitments. You mentally weigh your options before taking the plunge to buy something that's not absolutely necessary. Almost all of us do this. Almost all of us treat money like it's a precious, scarce resource that has to be closely guarded. And yet, money is far from the most valuable asset we have. You can always make more money, but you can never make more time. So, with that in mind, what would happen if we gave the same level of thought and consideration to the way we spend our time as to the way we spend our money? It's common sense to have a financial budget so that you know where money is going and you can make sure you've allocated enough to everything that's important. But have you ever created a budget for your time? Have you ever thought to create a schedule where you map out how much time each week you are willing to allocate to various aspects of your life in order to ensure that you're spending your time on the things that really matter and that you have enough of it for your biggest priorities? If you're like most people, the answer is no. Most of us simply wake up each day and try to cram in as many things as possible. Whatever is most urgent is where our time and attention goes. The things that are really important in life, but maybe less demanding, like nurturing our relationships with a spouse or parents, or taking care of our bodies, well, those kind of things just get whatever time is left over, which is never very much. But if you've never really thought about budgeting your time or being intentional about allocating your time, don't beat yourself up about it. You were simply never taught to think about your time in this way. So as a result, we take money more seriously than time, and we tend to fritter time away in pursuit of the money. So we'll drive those 30 minutes out of our way to save $5 on an item at a store. Or we'll spend an hour hunting down that 25-cent coupon that we're positive we saw the other day in one of those piles of papers. Well, living the fewer things better way means that you invest your time the same way you'd like to invest your money. You see, time, like money, can be spent or it can be invested. You can spend your time and money on things that are gone quickly or invest them in things that will pay you back dividends later on. The time that you have put into listening to this episode wasn't spent. It's not gone now. It's going to return to you later on in the form of better work-life balance and more intentionality. That time that you're spending listening to this is invested in your own self-development. For each minute that you have invested in listening to how to simplify and streamline your life and make sure that the way you spend your time is aligned with your priorities, you're going to get dividends back later on in the form of more focus, more time, and more energy. So we have to stop thinking about spending time and thinking about investing it. We also have to plan to make time, rather than hope to find time. People who manage their money well tend to make choices with the long-term plan in mind. They don't just buy whatever feels good in the moment if they know that that means they won't be able to save up for a vacation or whatever else they want the money for. People who manage their time well do the same thing. So in allowing an hour to escape you while you scroll through Instagram is a time expense that you just cannot afford if you feel like you don't have enough time to sleep at night. Put down the phone. I know it's hard. Get your work done, and then relax. When we don't plan our time, just like when we don't have a plan for our money, it slips away from us very quickly, and we often don't even realize it. So we'll say, didn't I just get paid? Where did the whole paycheck go already? And that's not much different from saying, wasn't it just 8 p.m.? How was it midnight already? When you need more money, you don't just hope for it or try to find it someplace. Right? The most reliable way to get more money is to look for ways to make it. So don't try to find time. Make time for the things that matter. Now, I hope you're nodding along here as you're listening and you're agreeing with me on a theoretical level that time is as important a consideration as money. But let's make this personal. It's your time that is valuable, not just time in general. See if you can relate to any of these statements. The things that I'm doing help others. I don't want to let them down by saying no. I'm afraid people won't like me or won't think I'm a team player if I protect my time. I don't like conflict, and it's uncomfortable for me to set boundaries with others. All of those statements, all of those feelings are very common, and they're very common amongst teachers. They're a big reason why we have trouble saying no. And here's what I want you to understand, not just on a theoretical level, but to really internalize and live your life by this. Your wants and needs matter just as much as everyone else's. You have to value your own time and insist that other people do too. You are no more important and no less important than anyone else. And therefore, your goals and priorities deserve equal weight and consideration. You deserve to have time for things that matter to you and that help you stay healthy, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of it. And your beliefs about the value of time will teach people how to treat you. When you begin to respect your time as much as you respect your money, the way that you interact with the people around you will change. You will see your own needs as being just as important as the things that others need from you. Your sense of purpose and vision for how you want to spend your time will give you the confidence to stand up for yourself and prioritize your goals. That confidence will make you feel much more comfortable in saying, I can't do that today because I have other commitments. And I think that when you practice saying those things, you will be amazed at how others respond. There are so few people who are truly intentional about their time that the people who are intentional tend to garner a lot of respect. Having the ability to evaluate priorities thoughtfully and to say no with confidence when needed, it's almost like a superpower in this day and age when everyone's having all their time and attention being demanded all the time. Other people may not like the fact that you're less available to cater to their every whim, but they will admire the way that you set boundaries because it's something that they wish they could do too. They will begin to ask rather than tell you what they need from you. They will stop depending on you to pick up all the slack and take more initiative themselves, or ask other people to pull their weight too. When you consistently demonstrate to others that you value your own time, you will find yourself experiencing a new freedom that you may have never thought was possible. You'll realize that you have the power to question the status quo and let go of expectations that aren't working for you. I hope this working excerpt from the first draft of my new book called Fewer Things Better has helped you understand a little bit more about why I'm so passionate about helping teachers be intentional with their time. I want you to know that your time is valuable because you are valuable. That's why I created the 40-Hour Teacher Workweek Club, to help teachers find ways to do the job that they love, do an awesome job for kids without wearing themselves down to the bone in the process, without sacrificing their health or their family. If you're interested in joining the club so that you can have support and resources and community around this goal, we're going to be opening up for early bird access beginning June 5th, and the summer cohort begins July 1st. So you can go to 40htw.com to get on the wait list, and I'll send you some free resources to help you start figuring out ways now to be more intentional with your time. It's at 40htw.com. Your takeaway truth for the week ahead is this: don't try to find time. Make time for the things that matter. I'll be back next week to share a plan for helping you do exactly that with your break. We're going to talk about how to make a realistic plan for summer that will leave you feeling rejuvenated. Have a fantastic week. You can do this. And remember, it's not going to be easy. It's going to be worth it. Want more than just a weekly podcast episode from me? I'd love to also send you a weekly message of encouragement via email. I'll reach out each Sunday evening with a short message that's designed to help you feel more prepared and inspired and motivated for the week ahead. It's not a newsletter or a bunch of announcements. This goes out to over 85,000 educators. So I put just as much thought into crafting this weekly written message to my email list as I do into crafting my podcast episodes. And it's entirely unique content that you won't find anywhere else online. Just go to thecornerstoneforteachers.com/subscribe and you can sign up. That's thecornerstoneforteachers.com/subscribe.